Hey everyone, hopefully you're having a good day. My name is Andy. My channel is Finding Value. I was scrolling through Twitter. I added some stuff for news off of what I got on Twitter. And again, I don't really base anything off of news, but I'll share it, give you guys some entertainment and some information because some of it is true. I would say most of it's true, but I don't use this to do any sort of decision. My decisions are solely based off of valuations, the chart patterns, and the market conditions, which are all incredibly favorable for uranium. But this is some news when I was scrolling through. I just wanted to share it with everybody because I thought some of it was kind of cool. We've got global nuclear plants in the upper left here. We've got 2020. This is existing and under construction coming on up. And then look at the additional China estimate that's coming up from 2024 and onward. It just blows up to the upside for global nuclear plants. So obviously that's going to be increased uranium for these nuclear power plants. And looking at all assets here, we've got gold at 11.3 trillion, Microsoft 2.5 trillion, got all these things here. And uranium's total asset for all of it is only 42 billion. It's incredibly small in relationship to all these other individual companies even. We've got Japan's carbon goal is based on restarting 30 nuclear reactors. France to build small nuclear reactors by 2030 and export push. Over 40 countries pledge at UN Climate Summit to end use of coal power and clean nuclear energy will take its place. Uranium demand is going to an all-time high when 700 million pounds of U-308 will need to be covered in new contracts. Huge uranium news. China planning at least 150 new nuclear reactors in the next 15 years, more than the rest of the world has built in the past 35 years. The future for nuclear energy is strong. Now, this is another person. He was doing a chart analysis. In his opinion, there's the potential to go lower from the existing chart patterns. These are more of ascending type wedges. This is not an ascending wedge necessarily, so I'm not as bearish as this person is here, but it is a possibility. But what I think is going to happen by looking at the candlesticks inside of this, I think we're going to break to the upside. That's where my opinion is. Looking at the candlesticks before this, what you see are small down days as this thing's trying to come up and starting to roll over. You saw a bearish engulfing there, a couple of large bearish candlesticks, and then the move upward was on small candlesticks going to the upside. In this chart here, the differences are we've got large candlestick buying pressure, small sell-off. Big candlestick buying pressure, small sell-off. Big candlestick buying pressure, small sell-off. The sellers aren't really throwing any reversal patterns in this chart pattern on the right-hand side. Here they threw a bearish piercing at the top there, big selling pressure, small buying pressure coming up. It's like this thing's rolling over. We also had bigger selling pressure right in the middle of this candlestick, in the middle of this pattern. And that's what you want to look for are the larger a larger selling candlestick pressure in relationship to the buyers. And if we can even zoom in here as far as I can go, see these big sell-off candlestick pressures here? We did have some bigger buying pressure, but there was still reversal candlesticks coming through here. And then the buyers kind of will say, we're not stepping in. And that was the day right there where the pointer finger is, where it ended and broke out to the downside. But it's a possibility, but we've got nice big buying pressure and smaller selling pressure. So we'll see what happens. And I'm not, if this comes back down, I'll just cost average in when we hit what I think is going to be closer to a bottom. And that's how I'm going to play it. I'm not going to sell out. This was an awesome chart that I saw that somebody had posted that I think it's really cool. This is the uranium to silver ratio. Silver was outperforming uranium in the mid to late 2000s and early 2011, up to 2011. Now we're basing it out. and we're probably going to see a big move to the upside after breaking would be this pattern very shortly here, which means that uranium's going to outperform silver. So if you're a silver investor, you probably should take a look at uranium because uranium is probably going to outperform silver quite dramatically here very soon. Uranium is one of the most highly leveraged sectors. I also like natural gas because that's also very highly leveraged, natural gas and oil. Here's another chart here. It says Chinese nuclear tidal wave. Operable reactors, 46. Operable and under construction, 58. Operable and under construction and planned, 101. Operable, under construction, planned, and proposed, 271 number of reactors. That is a ridiculous amount from 46 to 271. Absolutely incredible. Now, here's another cool one that I thought I wanted to share. This is the 4-week returns. This is your 1-year return. And if you look, uranium URA is doing very well in terms of 4-week returns and 1-year returns. It's way out on the right-hand side. Anything out here is doing very well. Blockchain technology, BLOK, is doing very well as well. We have oil and gas exploration and production, natural gas producers, fracking, frack. These are good too. And that's the channel has been invested in these types of energy plays over the past year. Ever since the channel started in August of 2020, I was a big uranium bull and oil and natural gas. I do think that the gold and silver miners that are over here are going to eventually work their way to the right-hand side over time. So I think that's a good spot too. Solar TAN is done pretty well. That's another one I think will do well. COPX. These oil and gas equipment services will eventually work their way to the right as well. I don't know as much about some of these other ones. I don't think they're going to do as well. Going down here, this is, I thought, a pretty cool one. What we're seeing is the disbelief, hope, optimism, belief, thrill. This is basically the price moving up and the pattern it creates over time. We are here, according to this person, which if you look at the patterns here, we had a disbelief pattern at the bottom here. We had the hope. We came on up and we created this little sideways movement. We're coming up in this bowl-shaped pattern of where it kind of moves sideways. That's where we are right now, where we could see a huge break to the upside and basically a huge launch. I think that could potentially be right. But again, guys, this is more for entertainment here than for sure. But I like comparing patterns exactly like this person did, because the herd and how people interact with each other, they just repeat over and over. So I've seen tons of patterns in all of these different sectors just repeat in other sectors. So you can look at one sector and say, okay, this is roughly where we're at in this other sector in the move going up or down or whatever it is. So I think there's validity to comparing patterns against other known patterns in history. Uranium is one of the best sectors. We are coming to, I think, a very important part, a very important potential break in the charts here this next week or two. So let's watch this thing. Let's watch it together. Let's ride it higher. I am riding it. My favorite companies, just to let you guys know, I know I've got a lot of new subscribers here. I'm riding, my overweight positions are a lot of the African ones. I have a couple of other ones that aren't Africa that I overweighted in Canada. The ones I overweighted are, I'll start with Next Gen Energy, NXE. I own Fission Uranium, FCUUF. The African ones are Bannerman, BNNLF. I own Deep Yellow, DYLLF. Goviax, GVXXF. Global Atomic, GLATF. Forces Metals, FOSYF. And then I own Baseload, which is a uranium exploration company in Canada, BSENF. And then I own a whole bunch of other ones that aren't as overweighted. I own ENCUF, Encore Energy is another one I overweighted. And I have a bunch all sprinkled out across the sector in terms of exploration. I own Laramide, LMRXF. I own a bunch of Canadian exploration companies, basically all of them. I have a little bit of money in them. I do own UROY, UROY. I own a lot and a whole bunch. UEC, I own a little bit. UUUU, I own a little bit. But those are the companies that I overweighted, were the ones mainly in Africa and a couple in Canada, and very few in America. Hopefully that works out. I mean, that's what my research, and a lot of the companies, the way I choose them were some weighting to dollars per pound uranium in the ground, some weighting to what the charts look like, what their valuations were at the beginning of the market, what this sentiment was towards them, what their cost to produce and break-even points are, where they are in their journey for building a mine. Some of them are 3-4 years out. So I'm looking at all that stuff. The number of pounds that they have just in general. I prefer some of the bigger, more pounds than some of the really small ones. So that's it all kind of mixed into this soup that I created and said, these are the ones that I'm going to go with. If you guys like this content, give me a thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And thank you for listening. This is Finding Value.